career progression in sales. Today I decided to meet with Mark, who works as a regional area manager for Bank of Ireland Payments Acceptance. I believe that's your department, Mark. Is that
It
correct?
is indeed, yeah.
Okay. And I decided to do a short interview with him because he's the greatest example of how you can actually step up from entry role to the senior level and how you can build your career and how can you feel rewarded. Mark now is living a good life. We are in Wexford, his holiday house, and we decided to ask him a couple of questions. So, firstly, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself. Freely, just feel free, don't stress.
Yeah. So I am in sales 28 years. We were talking off camera there, and we were talking about obviously apprenticeships and obviously people going for electrician jobs, plumbers, carpenters. What about sales? Sales is a really, really good job. You get to meet different people. And as I said, I'm doing it 28 years now, and I love it. When I go to work or any job I've had, I've really enjoyed it. And I suppose the key to a happy life is enjoying your job and the rewards obviously that it brings. I started off basically selling cars when I was 18, and I sold Daewoo. Obviously, it was Chevrolet. They moved to Chevrolet. Changed the name to Chevrolet. And I did that for 11 years, really enjoyed it, meeting customers. You'd be selling 200-300 cars a year. Chevrolet, we did Opel as well, looking after customers in terms of getting the car serviced as well and the warranty and parts and stuff like that. So there was a lot involved with it. And then, unfortunately, the company I worked for went into liquidation and I got made redundant. And I left the motor trade after 11 years. And I didn't know what I wanted to do for the next step. But I took a bit of time off and I was thinking about, the next chapter.
Let me stop you there because I actually was speaking about it before. When it comes to redundancy, tell me, you probably felt stressed and you just felt like, what's going to be the next step? I'm even going to get a job. But I'm sure in the end, it actually was a good thing that you've been made redundant for you. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, because at the time I got made redundant, actually, myself and my wife were getting married that year. So I was obviously under a lot of pressure to pay for the wedding and stuff like that. So the redundancy came and that obviously helped us pay for the wedding. And I was thinking about going back into car sales. But at the time, my son was playing football, and I suppose car sales, you have to work on a Saturday. And my son was playing football and stuff like that. So I was kind of glad that I didn't have to work any more Saturdays. And then I started off basically working for a company called CPM, which I worked there for 7 years. And they basically were a sales and marketing company. And they had different accounts. And one of the accounts was with Bord Gáis. And it was the time basically ESB where, they had the monopoly, and Bord Gáis came into the market to break the monopoly, and we were switching people over for the electricity and gas. But the fun part was it was door to door residential, which was a totally different scenario.
Very stressful.
Yeah. Well, you had to knock 200 doors a day to get 10 sales a day. That was the target. So it's a lot, and you'd be 6 or 7 hours going around to different houses and stuff like that. So I learned so much doing that job, and I then obviously got promoted then to the main account they had, CPM, which was with Aircom, and I went into business then, doing business to business then, and selling broadband and mobile phones and stuff like that. So that was another challenge because Aircom's name wasn't great in the industry for their billing and stuff like that. They were very expensive and stuff like that. So it was hard. I had to switch over 3 new businesses a day, which is again very tough and a hard target. But listen, I got my head under it and I worked really hard, and I got promoted as well to coach. So I used to coach the new people coming in and stuff like that, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then the boss that I worked for moved over to Bank of Ireland Payment Acceptance, and he asked me then would I be interested in going over, and I went over.
That's one of the things as well. Once you start progressing in certain careers, you're meeting people quite often. You don't have to look for a job; the job will be finding you.
Yeah.
Because people in the certain industries always follow with each other.
Yeah. So he was a sales director, but he knew what I was capable of, and he knew that I was hardworking, and he knew that basically I was target driven, and I always wanted to be top rep and be top of top of the table, as they say. And I'm now currently coming into my 10th year working with Bank of Ireland Payment Acceptance. I started off as a rep, and I now am a regional sales manager. So I basically coach all the new starters, do training, do accompaniments with people that are struggling, presentations, team meetings. I look after Kildare and South Dublin, and I manage 14 of the Bank of Ireland's in that area. And I look after all their business customers in relation to the credit card machines and gateways online.
What was the most recent kind of challenging thing when you get promoted to this manager role? What was the most kind of challenging point for you?
Well, obviously, it's was trying to basically obviously, when you're an individual in sales, you have your own target. But then when you become a manager, then you're obviously the team target. So it's just obviously you're not looking after one person yourself. You're looking after 12, 14 people, and you're obviously trying to push a target and make sure that everyone is hitting their targets and their KPIs and stuff like that.
Did you ever have any difficult customer that you were helping your employee with, as an example?
Yeah. So I had a customer I went into. It was a bar, a big bar. They'd 10 machines. They did food as well, pub and restaurants, and they were with Bank of Ireland Payment Acceptance for a few years, and they left because of connection issues and stuff like that. Now, obviously, when you're obviously running a business and you're using credit card machines, it's all card now.
I'll tell all about it because I used to work in the industry as well. And
so it's
the credit card payment is sometimes could be half of the money that's going through the day, or even more.
Well, it's probably
90%.
It's probably about 80%. Yeah. So to have a machine that's working 24/7, and obviously weekends and stuff like that is so important. But this customer had trouble with connections, stuff like that, and they moved off. So when I went into the customer, he turned around and said I'd never go back to Bank of Ireland if it was free. I just built a bit of rapport with him, and we had a bit of a chat. It's just about football and family and stuff like that. And I just built a relationship with him.
Personal touch that you have with your clients, it is important.
Well, in sales, that's the key. Like the key to sales is to build a relationship with your customers. As I said, when I was selling cars, I used to have customers that come back to me every year to change their car, and they'd only come back to me. And it's the personal stuff. But going back to that customer, the challenge customer, his machines were down, and I just basically said to him that, if he gave us a chance to come back to us, I'd manage the account for him directly, look after everything for him. And he gave us a go. I obviously saved the money as well, but it's not all about saving money. It's about customer support, and it's about, for him, he just wanted someone to be able to ring and pick up the phone. Now, this guy rings me on Saturdays and Sundays now. So one of his machines fell there recently on a Sunday, and I went down and fixed it for him myself personally. So it's just gone above and beyond.
Yeah.
And since the relationship I have with him, he's passed on my card to other business people in the area, and they've all switched over to me as well. So you get referrals and stuff by making sure you look after the customer, and your reputation is everything. Your name is everything in the sales industry. So it's so important. But that customer now is with me now 2 years, and I go up and visit him all the time just to make sure he's happy and everything's okay.
I believe listening to your customer is kind of the main outcome here. So you did listen to the problems on behalf.
Yeah.
You did promise to fix the problems, go over beyond, and you got it there. And tell me about coaching the teams that you coach at the moment. The people that you coach. How do you identify their weaknesses, and how do you turn them into strengths? How do you help your people?
Well, obviously just going out in accompaniments and doing shadow days and stuff like that. What I find with new people is, they can get put under pressure, to hit their numbers and their targets and stuff like that. So it's just kind of getting them to relax and to be prepared well. When you're in sales, you have to be prepared. Obviously when you're basically in field sales, you have to know your area, and you could go into one area and like the pubs might open until 4 and the takeaways might open until 5. So a bit of your planning is key, so you have to make sure that you're planning your day well, and you're hitting all your KPIs. What I do is I'd go out with them basically, and I'd stand back and I'd listen to their pitch and stuff like that. I defined, most recently, I had a guy struggling, and I found that he was just talking too much, and he was kind of talking himself out of the sale. And I just basically explained to him that he needs to, have a little bit of a presentation at the start, and then, ask questions. Asking questions is the key, because the customer then will obviously then, revert back to you with the answers, and you can take up little, points then, and you can present then the benefits that we provide. And I think this guy was just talking too much, and he wasn't going through, the right format in terms of the questions and stuff like that. And then sometimes people can talk themselves out of the sale by not closing. So when I'm speaking to a customer, I did tell the guys to present, ask the questions, and then obviously present back the benefits, and then go for the close. And then ask the customer for their documentation.
How do you identify the closing time? When do you think is the right moment to?
By the sales signals.
Okay.
By the customer, might say to you, "Oh yeah, you get signals that they want to switch over," and obviously saving money. If you're saving them money, then at the end of the day, everyone's trying to save money in this industry, and we have a lot of benefits as well. So the benefits are key as well. So it's just obviously closing the sale at the right time, and getting the information off the customer to proceed the application, to get the application approved for their new card machine.
Okay. And what was the time for you when you felt the most rewarded in your career? With Bank of Ireland, how long now?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. So I was rep of the year for 2 years in a row, and I got rewarded with a trip to LA for the President's Club. And I got awarded a trophy, and we had a week away in LA. Myself and my wife, all inclusive. It was just absolutely amazing. But when I got asked to go up on the stage to collect my awards, all my hard work and all my dedication paid off. When I was on the stage in LA, so the key to being in a company for so long is dedication, hard work, commitment. I don't do sick days. I don't even, obviously I take my holidays and stuff like that, but I'm very committed.
You have a nice place to take holidays too.
Yeah, but I'm very committed to the companies that I work for. I've only ever worked for 3 different companies in the space of 28 years, which is unheard of. A lot of people, to be in and out of jobs and stuff like that. So
don't jump your jumps. Always make your decision carefully when you do your career.
Loyal.
Well, yeah, be loyal, but also what causes you jumping jobs. You don't screen your employers properly. You make decisions too quickly.
Yeah.
And you end up in a job that you don't want. That's what happens.
The grass is always greener on the other side, as they say.
Yeah.
I've had people in the industry I'm in now go to 5 or 6 different companies, and they've actually come back then, back to Bank of Ireland Payment Acceptance, because they're the best at what we do in terms of, looking after our customers, our service, the quality of our machines, and also, saving people money again, which is the key,
I think Mark is just the greatest example of what I always talk about, which is your career progression, your focus, and, believing in your goal. The moment about the redundancy, you get redundant, you don't know if you're going to get the next job or not. Always believe in yourself, and always make the decisions that will be good for you. So, do you want to add something on?
Yeah, no, just even obviously going from selling cars to then going knocking residential houses door to door, it was a culture shock for me. It was, but it made me the salesperson I am today, and it made me very, very, very confident of my ability. Because if you're knocking at 200 houses and 50 of them close the door in your face,
yeah, but
and
it
then
shows some self-confidence.
Oh yeah, and the amount of no's.
The rejection that you
get. The amount of rejection, the amount of no's, and the amount of people letting their dogs off to get you out of the garden quickly. I had to jump a few fences and a few hedges in my time. But the satisfaction then obviously as well, meeting people, and that's the key to sales is meeting people, and having that relationship with people. A lot of my customers, I can actually name so many of them that are now friends. due to work. It's unbelievable.
Amazing. So I think Mark said everything I wanted. I don't have no more questions. He explained his career progression in the best way possible. And as I always say, the content I create there for you is I'm the greatest example of changing career as well and being happy in my job. And I want you to be exactly the same. And this is the reason why we sat here together. So I hope you watched till the end. And thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Adam.